Hello, VOD Watchers. First of all, I know Plush you're here, but hello, VOD Watchers. Thank you for showing up and going through it. I'm getting double audio. Okay. Hi. Welcome. We're starting the 200 Days Horror Mod Pack, which is fantastic. I'm not sure if I'm going to regret this or not. Tell the Discord proper. 200 Days Horror Mod Pack starting now. And you. Oh, bite Pumpkin. I did it. Nice. I need still too. Also, I forgot to turn on music. There you go. I completely revamped the streaming playlist and this all happened because I found one song I really liked on my editing software. And so I revamped the entire thing. And I still can't find more songs like it. There's a song I found on my editing software called Dancing Barber. And it gives me specifically the vibes of a Cuphead / Bendy and the Ink Machine theme song. Mixed with like an Undertale style / beat. And I can't find anything like it. Holy the frog, I've not heard of it. I need to check that out. Hi, Pumpkin. How you doing? Right. I have to be a good streamer and do the alert things. Oh no, that's them. Ooh, ankle biter. Or two. You guys could probably hear my keyboard. I'm thinking about it now. Alright. Also, what's fantastic is while we have this pretty calm, chill, upbeat music, I'm hearing the screams of the damned from the mod pack, which you guys cannot hear, but let me unmute it for y'all so you can enjoy what I'm hearing currently. Let's pause the music too. You just the screams of the damned. Also, I will not have music on for the stream. We will just be listening to the music that came with this. Because they did auto have some settings and they want me to keep music on. So we're keeping it on. Yeah. There we go. I keep getting distracted from doing what I'm supposed to do. There we go. Okay. And then I can close these. How many days will the stream be? I don't know. See, my plan is to... The last 100 days I did, which was... What is that video? Hold on, I'm looking it up. I don't remember what the video is called. I just remember the start to that world I named How Not to Start a World. 100 Days in Modded Colony Craft. That's literally what I titled it. But for that one, I, like, hardly slept. To a point where I made a joke at the end. The very last day, 100 days, I said, oh, now I can finally sleep. I do plan on sleeping every night, so that's definitely gonna help us. Because each day is 20 minutes, and I plan on streaming at least 2 hours, so we'll get through like 20 days, maybe? We might do 3 hours, I don't know. 2 hours is is my goal. We might do more than that. No hyperfixation off stream. Alright. Yeah, let's just get into it. I'm procrastinating. Yeah. Also, I think I have the mic a little too far away, so there we go. Yeah. From what Minecraft? There we go. From what little I've seen, this is a fantastic mod pack. And it has its own shader, so I'm hoping that works. I have no idea how well this was run. I've already set up the shaders, so I know that it will run at least decently well. I really hope the shaders will work with streaming. I don't know. And then I have a day counter that will be above my hotbar. Oh yeah, I should actually start this. We're doing 200 days in this horror mod pack, Cave Horror Project. Go check it out. It's on 1.21.1 Minecraft. Also, I just realized this. My Minecraft is slightly off. There we go. That was bugging me while I was editing. Anyway. We're doing 200 days for 200 subscribers. My main goal is just not even survive. I just want to keep my sanity. I just want to make it to the end. I don't have this on hardcore. I originally put it at easy, but we're going to be doing it at normal. Is that fucking Mothman? Also, this is the most you'll probably ever hear me curse, because I've gotten better at just not cursing. Except for rare instances, which is usually streaming. Also, I have a warm cup of tea that I've oversteeped to help me through this. That's still a little too hot. And it's a little bitter. But yeah, to get the data pack to work, the world is already set up. So, I have not looked into a single thing. All I know, yes, I oversteeped the tea. I was setting up stream. All I know is there's Herobrine and the Cave Dweller, but I haven't watched anything for the Cave Dweller. And I've seen only pieces of the Herobrine mod. I have no clue about anything of this. I already kind of know the seed. As in, like, the initial starting area. I know this initial starting area. My computer is not happy with me streaming. Also, I hate the leaf sound effect. Let's bring attention to this real quick, because I hate it. It sounds like someone chewing in my ear. Oh, my VTuber is so laggy. You know what? We'll have to deal. We'll have to deal. When you step on a leaf in autumn, fair. This is a little laggy, yeah. I'm willing. I'm willing to deal with the lag. Yeah, it's shaders. I'm willing to deal with the lag for the shaders, because without shaders... Yeah, we're gonna stick with the shaders. It's a horror mod pack, we're gonna use the shaders. This is like the bare minimum I could put them at. I just want a tree. But, I used this in a test world, and so the farthest I went was over here to the lake. And my mic is a little too tall. Also, I have safety instructions as a cassette. And I know from looking through mods, because originally I was going to do my own horror mod pack, that just means it's just a music disc. So at some point we gotta find... a... Oh, breaking. Oh, this is a tree, yeah. At some point we gotta find or get a... correct word. That's a bee. Little bee. Little boy. Is that a fly? I guess that's a fly. I'm just talking and avoiding everything. Gotta find music disc, music box. Gotta do that. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything in the nether. I don't know if there's anything in the end. I'm just gonna treat this like normal Minecraft and hopefully we survive. What are you? Bro! This is just ridiculous, honestly. Oh, I should play game. Hold on. I need to stop running around and admiring everything, and I need to actually progress, because I do want to survive. That is my goal. Also, I'm hoping... Is the sounds okay for you guys? Music okay? I'm hoping it is, but I don't know. Because I do have ducking set up, so every time I'm talking, it does go quieter. Water cold on your teeth. Oh no. Little bit of stone. I don't know why there's stone right here, but I'll take it. Okay, stoner. Of course. I feel like I'm gonna stay in third person an awful lot, just so A, I could see Herobrine if he pops up, and B, so I can avoid Herobrine if he pops up. That's not an axe. Also, props to the music. This is fantastic sound design. Like, I have a feeling half of this is gonna be me terrified out of my mind, and the other half's gonna be me amazed at how well it's put together. You'll have time to enjoy the looks later. Your main objective is survive. Yes. Well, not even survive, it's keep my sanity, but surviving certainly helps with that one. Because we could just walk in a straight line and see what happens, but I don't think that's going to be very good, A, for streaming, and that I have a feeling that might actually just make my sanity even worse. Boat. And I need... you. Yes. Actually, I should have gone... I want to see what's up with that. I should have, like... That should have been the first thing I did, but I completely ignored it instead. I still can't get over... This looks so cool. I still can't get over it. I am loving it. Also, there were several shader packs that this got set up with that I could choose from. I just went with what it was originally set as. And I think... I don't know. I moved around some of my audio settings. I know I kept the music as the same, or basically the same volume. Although the music's completely gone, which is a little terrifying. Not sure how to feel about that. Hello? What was that? I'm just gonna take from this. Leggings. Oh, we have echo. Fantastic. We get to hear my deaf and surround sound. Okay, what's going on down here? That's probably a skull spawner. Oh, nope, this is. Nope. Nope. Obituary. Oh, it tells me my death location. And that does too. Okay. Coming to theaters this fall, my death and surround sound. Death counter. I should add, like, a command for that so we could actually count. No. Eventually. 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 Nope. Okay. Oh, he has all my stuff? That just tells me where I died? Or do I have to break it? I've literally, like, never used a death mod. Yes, okay. Oh, and it sets everything back as it's supposed to. Great. Fantastic. I'm immediately gonna die again. Yep. Well, we know how it works now. Oh, actually, you know what we can do? I could just set a death counter on screen. Text. Death counter. Or deaths. There we go. Deaths. Bloop. Wait, do I still have that font on my computer? Hold on. Select font. Is that at the bottom of my list? Where's press start? There you are. Hold you. There we go. Love that font. Oh yeah, two. You right. I will take that bite without criticism. Alright, there we go. Oh wait, can I get an outline? Can we get a text outline so it's easier to see? Background. I just outline, yes. That you can't even see that. Make the outline size like 10. That is minimal. Fuck it, 50. That didn't put anything down. What is the max? 20. Okay. Okay. I remember elementary. Wait, what? Having war flashback, Baka. Jesus. Okay, try in. And oh, Scale Boy's still here too. Can I just pick up stuff and go? Nope. We will get this eventually. Eventually. Wait, which? That's a map. I don't want to use the map though, is my thing. I'm okay with using the large screen map. I don't want to use the mini map because that can tell me where... where? Waypoint manager, yes. I want to remove the Fs. Options, can I just have it not show where I died? Because that's just being annoying right now. Advanced options. I don't need you to announce the damn mod. Okay. Whatever, I tried. Oh yeah, I should add to the death counter. Boop. Like, I feel like half of this VOD is gonna be just me fixing the deaths. Because this is definitely gonna be a... Did I miss a jump scare? Hello? Hello? Okay. Well, that was something. Why are there dirt? Oh, it's my gravestone! Oh, okay, cool. Okay, we're out. We're out. You know what? This time I'm gonna be smart. We have 3 different obituaries. Obituary? Obituary. Yes. Oh, nighttime! Fantastic. I know, yes. Okay, we're gonna be smart. I'm making shield. I haven't seen any sheep. That's kind of concerning. And that's enough for a shield. Ew. Oh, it is so dark. Oh, this is horrible. This just sucks. I can't see a thing. I'm turning off my light. Oh, I can still barely see anything. We're gonna get mob spawning soon. I need to fix the death count. What is that sound? I can't see. What? What? Ah, hi! How you? Okay, don't look at him. I got it. I got it. Where? I hear you. Where? Oh, you're here. Why do you have a war axe? Or a lumberjack axe? Doesn't matter. Why do you have it? What are you? Corpse maggot. Okay. Can I make a furnace finally? Thank you. Cool, a little bit of light. Can I eat this? I don't have the hunger to do it. Well, this is great. Oh, that's a chicken. Why? I see nothing. I see no one. Unless it's that thing all the way over there. Maybe, that might just be a zombie, though. It really likes these spooky, scary sounds. That's not right. Dynamic hand light? Yes. Okay. Got presentation tomorrow. Nice. I don't wanna. Oh no. Well, that sucks. Question is it safer or worse in here? Also, I still don't have a bed. And I haven't seen, like, any farm animals aside from the chickens. When did I get an iron ingot? Oh, no, I'm dumb. I crafted that, yep. Brain forgot. Oop. It really does not like me holding this while I'm boating. Can we get a bed? I would like a bed. As soon as possible. That's a creep. What kind of creeper is that? That's a seagull. You're no fun. And the weird sounds are back. Okay, I don't know what this is. I wanna... Ooh, that's a baby child. That's a drowned. What's going on here? There's a skeleton boy somewhere and I don't care. What are you? You're like a rabid dog. Oh, there are so many googly mooglies. What the hell? What are you? Oh, you are so bad. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. No thank you. No. No. Thank you. No thank you. Oh, that's it. Water saved me. No, no, no. Get away from me. Get away from me. Get away! What are you doing? You are the weirdest little guy. Goodbye. You're just a goofy guy. You're just a goofy guy. He's trying to paddle, but he can't swim. You know, against my better judgment, I'm going towards him. Oh, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Goodbye. I just wanted to sleep. What time is it? I'm using the mini-map just to check the time. Okay, we're 5 minutes in. Oh yeah, getting tested for autism and ADHD is super expensive. It's so ridiculous. Is it still following me? No. Okay. Anyway, sheep. I need sheep. Born in chaos. I don't know why I can use a corpse maggot. Can I eat? Yes, I can. I mean, it's food. Why? Oh, because he's right there. Oh, that's an Enderman. Why? What was the stinger for? What was that for? Also, that's just a normal zombie over there. I see light. Is that good light or bad light? I barely see. Lantern? I saw... What? Okay. Flying fishies. Spawn the wither? I'm not... What are you? What are you? Well, you got stuck on the boat. The moonflower. Oop. End portal opens. I saw that notification. What are you? Well, that sounds definitely coming from that guy. I see a cow over there. Oh, flying. Oh, I see what you're talking about, flying fishies. Okay. There's a drowned over there. Oh, I do have my boat. I do have my boat. That's what I was worried about. Okay, I do got my boat. I got no food though. I'm sorry, Plush. I need food. You know, I'm really not liking these sounds. Don't worry, I haven't been able to kill them. They're too fast. Oh, that's so a village over there. I just want to go to the village. That's a drowned on a swordfish. Why is it as fast as a boat? Get away from me. Get away from me. Juke him. Nope. Oh, I did! Nice. Is it day yet? Minute and a half. What is that sound? Why? Why? Skellawag rattles. Okay, it's a swordfish. Why the sounds? Why? Not worthy of a day, I guess. Glug. Yeah. There's the sun. Here comes the sun. Do 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 do. And I say, it's alright. Goodbye, sir. No, 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 no. Alright, let's go this way. To the village, and hopefully food and a bed. I forgot how Derp Mew looks. Do 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 do. I've tried like so many times to fit his mouth onto the Minecraft character, but it just does not work. It looks so much worse. So you just get a snout. Okay, normal. Yeah. Yeah. I like normal. I'm not getting enough of it already. We got hay, we got cauldrons. Might as well take the cap. Oh wait, food. You get to have all my obituaries. Yeah, I'll keep these. Because we could make a fishing rod or a... Villager? You good, bro? Raccoon coos? I don't know if a villager's getting hurt. Eat a bit just in case. I read that as flying fingers. I was really worried and confused. What? What? Sir, why are you gray? Where did you... Okay, nope, questioning it. Not questioning. Like, a reminder, just in case. I have zero idea what anything looks like. That's not right. Oh, that could... Fair shout, pillagers. Or vampires. Yeah, pillagers. But friendly. Yeah, they just look like pillagers. Well, to be fair, so far all the villagers I've seen immediately went for cover. Alright, I'm gonna be smart. We're gonna be smart for a second. I'm gonna use the rest of this to make sticks. We're gonna get this to make more torches. I'm going to make this your stick. I am not. I am the furthest thing from a stick. I could be a log, not a stick. There we go. Hey. Blaze. Pretty Blaze. Pretty Blaze. Pretty please. I know there's some over here. Unnecessary damage. Are you sure you're not a stick? Yes, I am. I'm sure I am not a stick. I could be a log. I sincerely doubt I'd make a good stick. Maybe a piece of lumber. I should have added jump scares to sound alerts. And made it so VOD can hear sound alerts. Hold on, we're gonna do that. Let's fix this real quick. Let's change the sound alerts so VOD can hear sound alerts. There we go. And I'm gonna add some jump scares. Cause why not? Might as well double my suffering. Where... there, sound alerts. Also, it's not a good idea to just not have Minecraft open at all, so you get this mini screen. Sound alerts, time in. Yada yada. Yes, continue. Jump scares, please. Jump scare. That's not a good jump scare. Oh, that'll do. That alert. That one's funny. Okay. Half of these are FNAF. Oh, that'll do. That's just a loud... it's a loud noise. The hell? Are you gonna play? Yes. Okay. We got like 2 normal jump scares and the rest of them are FNAF. Feel free to do with that what you will. Also, there's still the other sound alerts. Or stick up someone's ass? Seriously? Actually, I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. I am gay, so I'm not sure if that's a compliment or not. I really can't tell. You forget, I don't always I take things literally, so. I was fully waiting for you to swear to pull the watch your profanity, but you took it away. Oh. I will add the watch your profanity. You got any other requests while we're here? Watch your profanity. Vanity. Watch your profanity. There we go. It has been added. I will drag it up the list. It can go above. It can go below. Hello there. All right. I'm gonna open up the homepage or the library page and just see what's at the top right now. Chris? Yeah, that'll do. Oh wait, there's audio and video ones? Yeah, let's change that. I don't. Yeah, that one's just okay. I don't need the flashing. Just audio, yes. Oh, not that one. I lost it. I will. I know I didn't play that. Nice. Port. Okay, I'm adding. There's one that says I'm not a pussy, it's just anxiety, so I'm gonna add that. Hold on, let me rename it. I'm not scared, it's anxiety. I messed up. That's not how that's spelled. There we go. Audio only. Cool. Alright. And that should be all. Alright! Time to face the day and take a bed. Oh. We're just gonna walk away from you. Yeah, no. I learned my lesson last time. No. Good day. I said good day. I said no. I do not consent. Go away. I don't consent. I just want a red flower. I just want— oh, there it goes. I just want a red flower, or like some sort of red dye. There's yellow. There's seriously no red. Red. Ooh, food. 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 Food, food, food. Blop. Blop. While I'm doing all this ridiculous stuff to avoid the very thing I have to do. How's your guys' day? I'm stuck playing a horror mod pack. I had some good food though. I had a good lunch. What? Oh, bird. I've been seeing like videos of people making kind of sushi sandwiches. I haven't seen like a consistent name for them. But basically just rice paper and then do a little piece of seaweed on it, and then do normal sushi, another little piece of seaweed, and then wrap it in the rice paper, and then pan fry it for a little bit with some sesame seeds. It's not spring rolls. I've seen it called sushi dumplings once, and the only other video I can find of that is written in Russian, so I don't know what to call it. Hold on, I'll send you a picture. Maybe you can find it. Why? I just want to send a picture of my food! Actually, you know what? That doesn't sound super scary. That sounds like talking to the Emperor in Subnautica. Oh, is it because it's turning night? Yeah, no. Let me sleep. Goodbye. No. 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 Why? Shut up. Stop your music. Oh, raccoons! Yes, have. Yes, have. Take. Oh, these are cuter than the raccoons in my backyard. I haven't told this story in a hot minute. Okay, so we have like a family of raccoons. They've been around a while. While I send Pumpkin the food. There's a family of raccoons. They've been around a while in my backyard. Y'all got food already. I'm taking the rest. And at the moment, we have a water dish out there for the cats. I think we actually have 2 of them. And I'm honestly at this point just trying to find structures to get easy loot, by the way. I immediately just went down the same path I was trying to avoid. Boop. Yep. That's a thing. I got completely distracted from the raccoon story. Hold on. Gravedigger. Yes, I am! Not super useful, though. Actually, do we have an explorer's compass in here? No, we do not. Cobwebs are useless then. Oh, wait. String? I can get string out of these. Can I open that? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's the candles crackling. There's a family of raccoons, and we currently have like a water dish, and also for during the summertime when this was happening, we have like a little water play table. What are you? You're bison, probably. We have a little water play table for my nephew. And the raccoons apparently absolutely love it. And so it just gets absolutely dirty. And we also have couches in the back deck. And they just love making a mess in my mom's backyard. We also got my nephew like a little fishing pole thing with like a magnetic end to it, and so those plastic fishes with little magnets on their mouths, so you could actually like pick them up. And the raccoons thought they were real. And so one night, I have a video of this. I can't share it because doxing, but because I'd rather not dox me or family members that were in the video. But one of the raccoons picked it up and took off with it, and next morning we found it around the corner of the house, covered in bite marks. You gotta give it to them. They certainly tried. Where the hell am I going? I missed something back there. Where am I? I'm here. There. What is there? This? Oh no, I see it now. I'm just very blind. Completely missed that. Trying not to jump into any caves along the way. Ooh, wait, cows. Cows are always good. Oh, you have ears. That's cool. Goodbye. They gave him little ears. Oh. No. Anyway. I guess you won't die to monsters while being chased, but because you saw something cute, they got you killed. Oh god, run? What? Huh? I missed messages. I need to start using my speech chat again. The problem was I wouldn't stop to read messages when I'm using speech chat, so I'm just sitting there listening to it, usually while I'm talking, and then I never, like, give a moment for me to edit in, like, the actual text, instead of, like, forcing people to read through it. I could actually just, you know, read it myself. But then I forget to look over and read. Oh. It's a zombie stable. Well, I'm hearing googly mooglies and I'd rather not deal with that. Is there anything in here? Yep. Nothing worth much though. Carrying on. I both like and dislike this, sincerely. Because it's a fun, interesting thing to try, and I really like that Herobrine jump scare. I finally see sheep. Are you kidding me? When I don't need y'all anymore? This is why I should just use an axe. Why are there... What is that? What are you? What are you? No, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. We're just going. I don't care where, we're just going. We're just gonna go. I'm gonna try and hit that ruin portal, but we just gonna go. I don't know what that was, and I don't think I want to know. My guess is a zombie horse, but that doesn't... It didn't sound like a zombie horse, it sounded like a zombie pig. And I'm immediately thinking and analyzing, like, what is the lore for that? Or is it just a stupid mod? I hate the sound of these blocks. Is it just a stupid mod that they're like, oh, let's make a zombie pig that eats dirt and tries and eat you? Ooh, nice. I don't have a chest plate, yes. Yet. So that spawned. I think I might loop back round to spawn so we could finish that tower. What is that? Flying fish. What are you? Are you bad? Are you good? It's yellow. I don't know if that's good. I don't know. What are you? Are you good? Are you bad? Are you abandoned? We're good! We're good! Come on, just place it. Making me ruin their boat. Okay, place. Up. Thank you. And boop. You know what really this is magic. I know this mod exists, but it's still magic. I've never actually used one before. Fuck it. Into the ocean, buddy. In you go. Thank you. Another bucket. Ooh, and food. We like food. Fishing rod, you never know. I just got a bunch of stuff now. Second bucket, go. Ah! I tried! Dude. Oh, yeah. Go in the water, thank you. I'm trying not to be mean. Trying. Not always succeeding here, though. And I actually have the right stuff now. That's not thing. That thing. There we go. You know what? I might change this goal. I think I want to, like, try and at least kill 3 of these guys. I don't care what guys, I just... What? Oh, they're both falling in. They're all falling down. I want to try and kill at least 3 of the bad boys. So I think that'd be a fun goal. Problem is I gotta get to a point where I can actually, you know, do that. Wood. Anything up here? Nope. Bloop. Get dropped. Anything back here? Can I? Nope. Can I? Okay. You feel like something is chasing you. What the hell does that mean? Oh! I'm not sure if that's talking about here. Oh, nope. There he goes. Up there he is. How you doing? You mind if I sleep real quick? I'm just gonna do that. Let me drink some. A minor moon has appeared. Okay. And he gone. Cool. Good to know the day keeps most of them away. Is there any cool stuff up there? It doesn't look like it. Where was I headed? This way. Oh. Welcome back, sir. And just goodbye. Goodbye. I hear we're drowned, but I don't care. Just trying to circle back to spawn. Is he back there? Nope. Alright. What is that? It's a crab! Hold on. Is that a good boy? I can't get out of the boat. Why? There we go. Is that a good boy? Are we good? Because you look really cool. Why is there a stinger? Why? 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 It's day. It's not turning night. Why? Why? Is it the oh! Oh yeah, that would definitely be a reason why. Is it gone now? Okay, let's see if this guy's friendly. Are you friendly? Yes. That's all I want to know. I'ma just think it's better if we keep moving. That's a good idea. I should do that. We're gonna do that. Because I don't trust the music. Music's going away, but I still don't. Ooh, tower. You know, new mod packs are great for me because I just get so easily distracted. You know, forget building. Fuck building. This is a mod pack channel now. Next time after this, we're doing Infernal Origins because that's an epic mod pack. Maybe. I would like to actually properly play that though. Also, for stream, just reload my chunks real quick. And we go, boop. Okay. Yep. Give it a go. And a torch. Don't have enough time to break that. You look creepy, bro. How did you miss that? Break, 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 break. Yes. Potato. Don't need potatoes. What's going on up here? Another. Oh, there's two googlies. Can I get the googlies to fight? No, they're locked on me. Wait. Yeah, they're locked on me. Oh, that's a cobweb right there. Nope, 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 nope. You're kidding me! No, get away from me. Why? What? 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 Oh, the damn... Stupid maggots! Why did I throw my sword away? That was a poor choice. Why would I do that? Oh, they're following, that's why. And goodbye, and goodbye. Thank you. I still don't know what these can be used for. Oh, this is great. Okay, more of my tea, please. Day 3. Almost halfway through day 3. And I've made it a whole almost hour in. This is ridiculous. I don't... Well, I know why I'm putting myself through this, because it's funny. good content, but I also don't know why I'm putting myself through this. Nugget. Arrows. Yes, that's good. Nothing. Nothing. Arrows. Ooh, actually good stuff. I appreciate that. And that's enough that we can make an iron sword. Boop. Nice. Okay. How... If this is me on day 3, I don't know how we're gonna do the full 200, let alone killing any of these guys. This is just gonna be horrible. Well, time to try. Cool. You guys do damage. Okay, can I break this? Come on. Yes. And that's the top. Nope, stay back, please. Pretty please, pretty please. Just, yeah, just stay there. Thank you. Ooh, I'll take those. Pretty please. Thank you. And thank you. Cool. Stick. And I'll happily take the wood. Pretty please. Thank you very much. I have like 0 plans. I'm just trying to explore and survive at this point. There's nothing up here. Okay. So, beginner loot. Noted. A mod I've always wanted to try out like leveling system mods. I know Infernal does that. It's kind of what has me interested. I still need to get a music box for the cassette. Or at least, at the very least, like, find one. Which way am I headed now? This way, yes. You know what would be really funny? Is if somewhere in here they have killer chickens, so there's a very rare chance that a chicken just tries to kill me. Someone should make that a mod if that doesn't already exist. Because that sounds hilarious and fantastic. Imagine just going about your Minecraft day and then you're suddenly getting, what are you? No, 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 no. There's Herobrine again. No. I don't want to know what that is. That's a skunk over there. Okay. I don't want to know what that is. He's cool looking, but I am like sure to die, right? Is he gone? Nice. He's just chilling. As long as he can't climb, I'm fine, right? What is it? What is that? Is that a parasite mod? It makes me think of an Enderman, but it also makes me think of Herobrine, but also makes me think of parasites. Props to the modder. I have no idea what that is, and I don't want to know, but it looks really cool. And I'm saying I don't want to know in a very positive way here, because it's making me terrified. Are we almost done with day 3? Yes. There's something over there. I want to check it out. I might cheat a little bit and peek out the top. Also, keep in mind, like, heading into this, I only knew there was the cave dweller and the Herobrine mod. I have no clue of anything else that's in here. Not a single clue. Could never hazard it. Don't want to know. Don't want to know. Don't want to know. Curiosity immediately cured. I'm gone. Goodbye. I need to sleep. A bad omen moon has appeared. Is that a place I can sleep? Is that a spot I can sleep? Maybe. That's a pyramid. That's a straight up pyramid. I'm sleeping. Why am I still hearing the sounds? Why? I'm all the way over here. And what is this? What? It's gone. Okay. Why is there a pyramid? This was just a solid pyramid? Okay. I want to know what it is, though. I still want to know. I have a feeling- What is that? What are you? Yeah, we're gonna go see what it is. I want to know. It's like in my worst interest, but I want to know. I want to take a peek. What? Is that just a flower outside the door? Yes, it's just a flower. Okay, it stopped. We're gonna move the bed away a little bit. Just in case. I still have yet to find a red flower. That or I got distracted and haven't been looking for it. Something happened there. Can I just take a peek through the top? Can I just take a look? Not really, no. This just redstone? What is this? I don't understand. Okay. There's something back there, though. Like, what? I don't want to die, but I want to know what it is. And I am so ill-equipped. Okay, okay. What we're gonna do... Can I make waypoints? Yes. Come back later. Big danger. Yep. And did I set it to the key I usually do? Yes, I did. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to see is all the way up. What is this? I know what these two things are. I want to know what that is. That looks cool. Bloop. I want to know the cool things. Pretty please. Also, I'm tempted to mess with the Steve parasite thing we saw, if it's still there. I'm hoping it can't climb. I'm just gonna pillar up and shoot at it. So, yeah. Is it still there? Are you still there, sir? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a skunk. There's a skunk over there. Well, the boy's gone. Okay. Better for me. Better for me. Those are 2 cows. 3 cows. What are you? What are you? I don't think I want to know. I'm not even gonna dare come any closer. I just want to get a better view. Just in case I look at it directly and it causes something. What? It's an upside down... That was not my footsteps. What was that? I was not moving. I don't got a lot more blocks. I got blocks, never mind. I'm wrong. So just in case anything can climb, we're just gonna do this. You know, just in case. And you know, just in case. I want to shoot at it. This is like the worst idea, but... It just goes through him. I want to go near it so bad. It's like dead silent too. I'm surprised they haven't like thrown any music at me. Now the parasite thing is gone. Okay. We're just gonna be very careful of that guy. He's just minding his business down there, and we're just gonna let him mind his business. And welcome back here, Brian. How you doing? It's been a minute. We're on day 4. Are you feeling excited about day 4? We're like 2% of the way done. That's dirt, not wood. Oh, hey. Yeah, you're super excited, huh? He came all the way over to tell me about it. I'm just gonna stay far away from that thing. You look like a bad boy. I'm gonna stay away from that thing. That don't look good. There's bison over there. Where's... Is this the thing I was looking at? Seems like it. Why do you have exposed bookshelves? Why? Where did my axe go? Or am I being dumb and I threw it up? Ooh! Am I being dumb and I threw it up in my inventory? Also, that's a big cave down there. Yes, I did. What are you? I don't want to know. 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 Goodbye, 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 goodbye. I just wanted to see the cool structure, man. I just wanted to check out the structure. It looked cool. Are you coming over to me or are you just chilling there? My depth perception is horrible, but I think it's just chilling there. And it's gone. Okay. Yeah, I just want to get some cobblestone. I just want some cobblestone. Just a little bit. There we go. That's I feel better about life. Can I please go see the structure now? Setting my spawn. What time of the day is it? It's almost night. I got like 2 minutes to go check out this thing. I love and hate the silence because it's making this so much creepier. I might just completely... What was that sound? I might just completely leave music. You're back! Oh wait, I have an idea. I have an idea. I have an idea. Forget you. Oop. Called it. Is the thing still down there? Yeah, it is. It's just chilling. I hear a witch cackle. Ah, hi, buddy. Welcome back. You're almost on day 5. You excited? Nope. Okay. I saw something appear over there for like a split second. So this is dumb. I acknowledge that it's dumb. Come on. Are you kidding? This is so pathetic. Oh, it bounces off of him. I can't hit him like this. What? What? Are you? Are you a half body? Ever so carefully making a path closer. What? Got little legs. Bite. Nice. Yeah, it just bounced. A blood moon has appeared. No, 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 no. Where's my bed? Where is my bed? The fire guy's back! The fire guy's back! No! Where is he? Die, fire guy! Die! Die, you stupid bug! Yeah, die. Okay, where is my bed? I left my bed. That was a horrible decision. Where's my bed? I hear so many things and I don't like any of them. Sleep. If I couldn't sleep during a blood moon or maybe separate mod pack too small to eat, I guess. Okay, life's fine. Life is fine. Bite, bite. Why the biting? All the zombies are dying over there. What are— oh, you're just normal. What are you? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Oh, there, it's got a baby. What are you? It's children of that thing. Oh, why does it have to rain? What? That was an attack. That was an air attack. What? What was that? I don't have any more arrows. I just need enough of that I can go. I can't see a thing. Okay, we're gone. I'm not gonna find out what's with that villager. I will just write down that we gotta come back later. Why does it have to rain? Little guys are still coming at me. I wanted to head back to spawn, but I'm doing this instead. They're still coming at me! Get away! Get away from me! Hear them sludging towards me. None shall stop, little friend. They want to be your friend. No, I don't want them to be my friend. I'm happy with the friends I got. No, thank you. No, thank you. Also, I finally got my red flower. I'm actually very, very happy about that. Finally. Get rid of those. Why are they coming closer? They can swim in the water? Okay. Okay. Spooky, scary villager. Spooky, scary villager. So what is this music? I can barely hear it and it's all chopped up. Where am I? I'm here. What? What is that? I wonder if I can provoke it by going closer. What the? Oh, it's a seal! Oh, okay, it's sideways. I see it. Okay, I thought that was like a parasite. Okay, so what I was seeing is like the whiskers was a weird mouth and it was like some worm. No, that's... It's literally just a seal. Okay. What's that rainbow box? What rainbow box? What rainbow oh, oh yeah, that's my death. Oh no, that's the waypoint. I don't know why it's doing that. I would have thought it would have kept all those off, but... Because I have them turned off, but apparently if you add a new one, it keeps it. Friends? Is it time to sleep yet? No, it's only 4. It's not 10 yet. Hello, friends. Mind if I come aboard? Come aboard. This is a little laggy. Might need to exit and reload the game soon here. Because that usually helps when I've loaded in a bunch of chunks, and I'm trying to keep things running pretty well here. Are we gonna have this? We're gonna do this again. Oh, you can't get in because there's a whole party in here. Hi, hello. Let me out. Can I sleep? No, of course I can't. Okay, this way? Yes, this way. Firelight dust. Okay. Where did my boat go? Or am I just being... No, I'm just being dumb. I'm just being dumb. Okay. Arson? Perhaps. Mayhaps. Boat in your brain. Everyone has boat in their hearts. We all got a boat in our heart. I'm just floored. There's so much going on. I don't know any of it and I want to know, but I can't because I'll die and I'll struggle afterwards. And I would rather not deal with that struggle, but I want to find out as much as I can with what limited stuff I can. But I don't want to go caving for iron because of the cave dweller. So I'm just roaming for easy loot, which is not happening. My best bet is finding a stony mountain, which I have not seen yet. We have plenty of mountains on this seed at least, but... Oh, we're almost back. Okay. I go this way a little bit. Oh, actually, is there any on the shore? Any iron on the shore? Iron. Iron. Why is there fire over there? There was light right there. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Coal. Maybe you crazy? Maybe. Oh, we're back at the village. Nice. This is not where I want to be. They put me in a room. A rubber room. A rubber room with rats. The rats made me crazy. Crazy? I was crazy once. I have... One of my friends... They, like, a thing they say is, that's so crazy. Because they're like a theater kid. And around the time that I started, like, really noticing they were saying this was because of the rubber rats thing. So every time they went, that's so crazy, I would immediately reply with crazy. I was crazy once. And I would rehearse the entire thing and get, like, a sizable, like, oh my god, kind of sigh/groan. And it's to a point where if they say crazy, all I have to say back is crazy, and they immediately know where it's going. I don't have to say the entire thing anymore. I just have to start with crazy. Crazy? I was crazy. I love it so much. I needed to start, like, letting myself vocalize random shit. Because there are so many times, even if I'm what is that? I want to know, what are you? Is that a portal? It's an H. No, 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 no. I don't care what it is. I don't want to know what it is. It's not a friend. It's not a friend. It really isn't a friend. Is it night? It's not night. It's gone. Whatever it was, it's gone. No, it's not. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? There's only seagulls. There's only seagulls around me. What the fuck? What? 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 What was I? Yeah, well, I was talking about memes and shit. There's some, like, even if I'm watching videos by myself and they start out a meme, I'll immediately reply back with it, and it's great. Hell, did I see that? I swear I saw that. What? Mine? Have food stolen from your inventory by a seagull. I have a great story about seagulls, technically speaking. AKA the seagulls from the Finding Nemo movie, in which I mean, this is middle school. And so, middle school, like 7th, 8th grade, one day after PE, the boys came pouring out of the locker room. I think it was like after first period PE, the boys came pouring out, all 3 grades. Because this was mixed grade periods. They had, like, multiple PE classes. The entire boys' locker room. And this was not a small class size either. My 7th, 8th grade year, there were between 30 to 40 students per class. I think my 8th grade year, we almost had 50. Which was fantastic. It really wasn't. Why is that floating? Okay. Out of the boys' locker room, all the boys poured out, and in the same tune of mine, I can't remember what exactly they were saying, but they were saying somebody's name just over and over. I know it's not correct, but just imagine somebody, like, an entire grade of boys, or entire, like, middle school class worth of boys, just going, Brian. It was ridiculous. What is that sound? Me. What? It's me. It would be funny if in-game it could detect your... That's a snail. It would be funny if in-game it could detect your voice. And so anytime anybody said, it's me, you would get a... Hi. You would get a pop-up of the Five Nights at Freddy's Golden Bear Golden Freddy jump scare. Oh, that's great. Well, it's deep dark. I have to check it out. What do you mean? 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 Why is it night? Why do I have levitation? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? What? No, 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 no. In the boat, in the boat, in the boat, in the boat. Go away, go away, go away. I don't want to know. 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 Why did it give me jump boost and levitation? I don't want to know. It was day. Why is it day 0 now? We were on 5. What is that? What attack? What attack? What attack? What attack? Did it seriously reset my counter? What the hell? Yeah, it thinks it's day 0 now. What the Respectfully, what the fuck? We were on 5, damn it. What is that sound? What is that thing? I assume that's what's trying to kill me. I just want to get a look. Nope. Nope. I just wanted to look, dude! You look cool! Respectfully, you're scary as fuck, but you look cool! Why? 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 Yeah, apparently I did. I pissed off the gods good this time. I don't trust myself to stay still right now. What time is it? 17? 3 minutes until day. What the fuck? You got the wiggle juice? Yes, I got the wiggle juice. Well, that's got me awake. So something great about streaming, with the time I stream, I start at 7 PM, right? And I have dinner before that, and because I have serious struggle sleeping, I take sleeping meds. I take magnesium because that's what helps me out the most, of the least amount of negative effects. I take that right before stream with dinner. So, stream, I'm like slightly getting more and more tired over the course of time. I don't really feel effects until like later in the night, like 10, 11 usually. But that woke me up. Is it almost day? I can see the moon setting. Where's the sun though? What the hell? Why do I have a rock cod? A big moon, that's what it was called. Okay. It's almost day yet. I just wanted to Noted, don't destroy the Shriekers. Just don't. You know, we're just... Arthropod flying close? What the fuck is that? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why? The rod dies? Who's the rod? That's a setup for so many jokes. Unearthly biological creaking? I'm not sure if the subtle subtitle... Yeah. I should have expected that. I'm not sure if the subtitles make this better or worse. What is the creaking? Oh, that thing, probably. It's Mothman! Don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look, don't look. Ah, it's gone. What effect did it give me? Why did my... That was not me. Why did my vision move? That was not me. Should have learned after Herobrine. Why is my vision moving? Also, what? I didn't even get to see what that effect was. Also, ship with loot. We go to ship with loot. Is it day? Is officially day. Give me my loot. Yes, iron. Ah, the iron. Why is it still thunder? Why still the thunder? Oh, that means I can sleep. I can sleep. Because it's thunder, I can sleep. So respectfully, I'm going to see what command it is to change the day. Because we should be on 6 or 7 at this point. Minecraft command to set day. Day count. To change / reset in-game day count to a desired number, time set desired day number. What? Time set time. Why am I hearing footsteps? I'm not walking. It's probably the flying fish. I'm just gonna say it's the flying fish and move on with my life. Time add. Okay, so I need to do 24,000 times the amount of days. I turn off my phone notifications for streams and I finally see what Pumpkin texted back about I mentioned my lunch earlier, yeah, and they said it looks like a ripoff onigiri, except they spelled it unigiri. Unigiri. Onigiri. I can't roll my R's. I try, but I physically cannot, unfortunately. We should be on, I think it's because we were on day 5 that night, and then it forced it to night, and then we were on this day, and then I slept, forcing it to the next day, so we should be on 7, yeah? We all agree on that? Slash time. No. I'm turning this on for 2 seconds. Time add. This WAP number. I can just do days. I'm not at time set. How do I roll it back? How do I roll it back? Time set. Will it let me? Time set 70. There we go. We got it? We're good? We're good. I'm going to exit and reopen the game so I no longer have cheats. You seeing? I've exited. I am reopening the game. We're all good. Because respectfully, that was bullshit. It's raining. It's been raining like all day where I'm at. Oh, shut up. Okay, we're on day 7. I cannot do cheats. We're gonna test. Yep, can't do cheats. We're all good. And now I'm gonna do exactly what I shouldn't do. We're going back to that. I want to see what's inside the house. I want to know. So we're going straight back. More biting. We need to get you a chew toy. Or like a teething toy. Or I know there's like teething necklaces you can get. They're actually pretty good. Oh, the problem is... Okay, so I got teething necklaces for a little while because I used to have a serious problem biting my nails. And thanks to that, the teething necklaces, I was able to go away from biting my nails and move to just not biting at all. It helped me transition through it when I just could not get myself to stop for the life of me. And they're actually pretty good. However, the problem is I was biting the necklaces so much I went through, I think, 2 different packs of them. Why? I just want to see what's going on. Eating. Eating. That was not me doing that. Oh, it could have been the seagull, actually. A lot of teething necklaces I've seen are not my vibe. The ones I were getting were like shark tooths. Turtle. Yes, turtle. I heard breathing for a second. Why the breathing? Can I take a moment to step over here and craft, please? I should make... Curse of Vanishing... It's not Curse of Binding. There we go, that's another ingot. I don't know why the music. I'm assuming it's the house. I don't know, though. I could burn that. And that. Which is the firelight does burn? Is that a good fuel source? No, it's not. Why isn't that a fuel source? That should so be a fuel source. Throwing it out then. Throwing all that out. I need to get rid of the raw cod. And the bones. Okay, bad decision time. I just want to look from a distance. Are we allowed to look from a distance? I'm not paying enough attention to where I'm actually walking. I got rid of one shrieker. Oh, it's the thing again! We can't see the full of that, but that's the villager thing we saw. And there's a shrieker I can barely see up there, so I'm guessing there's 3 shriekers in all. I am not cut out for this yet. We're just gonna... Serious danger. There we go. Yeah. No. No, goodbye. Anyway, carrying on with my life. And hopefully the music will stop soon. Bloop. Become a friend? Not yet. That friend is big danger. I'm not high enough level to unlock that friend. What's with the pyramids. That's like the third pyramid I've seen. There's no way that's just coincidence, right? Like, there's no way. There has to be a reason this is spawned like this, yeah? There has to be a reason. Seriously? Okay. Hey, bud. You ready for day 7? We're a whole week in. Good talk. Seems like he was just mad about the day counter resetting as we were. Eek. Anyway. You know what? I will turn on the map. Because there are so many things that when I open up the map, I'll see, because I missed it prior. That I might as well just have the map open. Oh, but see, it's funnier when I just open the map, I'm like, oh, let's go over to this thing. You know, we'll keep it up. We'll keep it off. And I'm almost done with my tea. We're almost hit 2-hour mark. I thought we were gonna get 20 days in. We have not even gotten 10 in. What are those? What are you? Those frogs or turtles? What are you? I wanna know. What are you? Terrapin. That's a drowned. Blurp. Am I going the right way? No, I am not. Those are adorable, though. Oh, those are all drowned. Okay. I was really confused. Like, are those bubble columns? What's going on? Y'all see those eyes on the water, yeah? Oh, that's magma blocks. Okay. From a distance, those look like red eyes on the water. No, it's just magma. They're just magma blocks. I'm tempted to do underwater caving. Because I feel like that could be the safest, but also the mod pack people could have anticipated that and thrown a bunch of stuff in the water. So far, water's been relatively safe. What are you? It's a raccoon, okay. The water's been relatively safe. Just, forgetting my words. Hey, we can get iron here! We just gotta be careful about powdered snow. Water is relatively safe except for the Scalawag. Also, the firebugs are over there, so that's great. We're gonna try and avoid those if we can. So I can't tell where the powdered snow is. Because there's absolutely powdered snow somewhere, right? Because without shaders, the way you can tell the difference is, like, for some reason there's 0 shading on powdered snow. And so it's super obvious where it is. But with shaders, I got no clue. What are you? You look just like a bird. I'm just gonna assume you're a bird and live my life. Those are eyes. This is not a joke this time. Those are eyes. Those are absolutely eyes. That's not a joke. Those are eyes. Thank you for the biting. Appreciate it. Forget bits. We got bites around here. It's almost night. What? I don't know what to- There's multiple eyes. There's 2 of them. Yeah, I'm just gonna run this way. Goats! We love the goats. Some normal Minecraft, finally. It's taken ages. Let's fly. There's a house! Please be a friendly house. Please, I beg of you. I need a friendly house. Sleep. I see you. I get it. Not worthy. No. No, I slept. No, you're not allowed. I slept. Day 8. Come on, we can. Those are pillagers. Can I even see what's... I don't know what that is over there. I want to see. Forget the pillagers. I want to see. That looked like an Enderman with a jack-o'-lantern head. There's a villager. Is it friendly or is it not? I got a tummy and it go boing. Noise. Boing, 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 boing. Okay, yeah, that is exactly what I thought it was. That's an Enderman with a jack-o'-lantern head. Or at least an Enderman model. Is it friendly, though? Welcome back. Are you excited about day 8? I was a hummingbird. You excited, bro? Oh. No, he's not. Yes, it's just us that's excited then. Day-woo, no friends. You're still chilling. Water bucket on hand, just in case. Are we friends? You're super cool. Also, I love the detail that the crows go towards him. Oh, such a happy fate! Oh, hi, buddy. Sorry, am I making friends without you? I'm allowed to have multiple friends, okay? Let me hang out with new friend. Look at the happy face. Okay, let's go inside. Happy friend! He's just living his life. Look at him. Okay. That's nice. I like that. Don't you like that? He's really nice. You should go talk to him. He's cool. Trapdoor on floor in front of the house? I think it's decor. Oh! Wait, is it? No, that's absolutely decor. Why? Okay. You got any thoughts on this, Hero Brian? No? Okay. You know, now I'm thinking about it, maybe the jump scare, Hero Brian jump scaring me at the beginning was not a jump scare, it was just him coming up and asking if we could be friends. Are we friends? Aww. Life's good when you make fun of weird shit. You know, blah, blah, blah. You know, standardized testing, that's how math started, like in the education system about 100 years ago. Fantastic. Or, well, you mean teaching math? Because math's a lot older than that. What are you? You wild hog? Tasmanian devil? Aww. That's adorable. Teaching math, yeah. But wouldn't teaching math be way older than that? Because math started if correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I know and learning online, hey, you want to hear a math lesson here, Brian? No, okay. From what I know, or standardizing it. Okay, gotta be a little more specific there. Because it started in India, because India was a really good place to learn math, and we've erased the history of math, and that it started in India and overwritten it. And the few times we do acknowledge that it is from India, there's a music going on. I'm gonna start running. The few times we do it, like, acknowledge, oh yeah, it's Indian creators. What is this music? We name it something random and not actually named after them. What are you, Earcrow? Why is the music so loud? What is going on? What is this? Are you just gonna hit me with like a moon? Oh, grave robber.
Useless.
Why is the music so loud? Oh, that's the farm. Why? 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 To my knowledge, math had started more around Iran in like 3K BC. Okay. I am seriously not good at geology, so I believe in that. And then geometry started in Egypt. Nice. The game never gives me music. Why is it giving me music? There's a house up there. I won't go see house. We're going to the house. Why did it cut? What? Have bread. Have bread. Take bread. Goodbye. Okay. India has done a lot in math field, yeah. I think I'm out of tea. Hi here, O'Brien. Would you like some tea? You want any tea? You want some? No? Okay. You want some tea? I don't got tea, but you can have some bread. There we go. Adorable. That's a fly. Let's see if I can finish my tea. Oh, it's like a few droplets. Hey, at least I got root beer. I've been trying out various brands recently because there's one I really liked. First try, Boyland root beer. But it wasn't showing up for a while. You want some? It wasn't showing up at the store for a while, so I started trying out different ones, and this one was recommended by my dad. And it's alright, I completely understand why he likes it, because it's definitely a traditional recipe. It reminds me of, like, root beer candies. It's super good. It's just not my kind of thing. Abandoned, okay. What's going on over there? You seeing this shit here, Ryan? Look behind you. Like, seriously, this is not even a joke. Look behind you. What is that biome? Come on, look at this shit. What is that? I don't know what that biome is. Yeah, I told you. Look at this shit. Look at that. That's crazy. Oh, okay, goodbye. He had to go. His social battery is out. He had to go. How am I supposed to get across there? I know. Boot. Boot. See, I told you it would work. Buddy, you good? Okay, he doesn't want to talk right now. Alright. I get it, I get it. Understandable. Oop. Nope. I'm gonna be real, me remembering that math thing was purely because of a Tumblr post. You'd be surprised how much stuff I learned because I saw it on Tumblr. And this is not me saying, oh, I found it on the internet, it must be true. I'm saying finding long Tumblr Pinterest memes. I'm finding long posts with sources explaining stuff. Tumblr has like a very specific culture and I love it so much. I'm not sure what I'm doing anymore. I'm just walking. Not seeing anything on the map that's new. We're just going for it at this point. I don't care about anything. I am just exploring. I said I wasn't gonna do this, and then I did. I said I was gonna go beef up and get stuff done and get myself upgraded and not explore, because I had to get myself situated first. And then I immediately went out and I started exploring. That's all we've done. This entire almost 2 hours is explore. Also, I think I'll just end up stream at day 10. I may... What? I barely saw that and I don't know what that was. It's nighttime. Let me sleep. In peace. And not in peace. Well, I hit the ground running. I feel like the Shrek meme of like, ooh, that's okay. I feel like the Shrek meme running through the fields. Just a slow transition. I think, as much as I want to like stream all of this, I want to have this done by the end of October. I may have to... Okay. I want to do this every Sunday and Wednesday, right? I'm staying in third person because I don't trust Herobrine. I want to do this every Sunday and Wednesday, right? Let me pull up my calendar so I know what I'm talking about. The Sunday, 20th, 23rd, 27th. I say that between streams, each stream we do 10 days. The 20th, we can start on day 50. The 23rd, so next Sunday we start on day 50. Next Wednesday, we start on 100. 27, we do 150. And then the 30th, the Halloween, I will get tall. And we do the last 10 days. Or if I want to try and break it up more. Because I want to... That sounds like a good idea, but I also kind of want to get it out for Halloween as well, so it's a little bit... Because I could just do... Oh, depending on how much I edit, I could theoretically, if we do an Hi, Herobrine. See, I told you, I don't trust him. Keep you in my sight. Theoretically, if I'm editing this along the way, and we do an early stream that Wednesday, I could simply, words. Why music? Why? Why music? What I was gonna say is if I edit it and we do an early stream that day, then I could still post it that night for Halloween. Or if I want to go over the top, then Sunday we just do 100 days, and that Wednesday, the 20th, we do 100 days, and the 23rd, we do the last 10 days. Because that sounds like a decent plan. I think that's what we're gonna do, so I can get it out for Halloween. And then we'll find something to do that Sunday after. Why the music? I don't trust this game. Every time music happens. Why? Why gone? Is it just random music? You haven't had random music this entire time. My phone's going off. You haven't had random music this entire time. Why now? What is that? I want to check it out. I want to know. I want to look. I want to see. Come on, buddy. Let's go. No. Oh, he took bread. Seals. But yeah, I think we'll do that. So next Sunday we'll pick up at 100 days. Hopefully I can... Or coming Sunday we'll pick up at 100 days. And then next Wednesday we'll do the last 10. Oh, there's another one of these here? What are you? So we're doubling audio here. So it's still playing background music, but this place has its own music. Also, that is so cool looking. Cool, but that's cool, but scary. Yeah, I don't want to go near that. Is it almost night? No. Where am I even headed anymore? Yes, I'm going this way. So I haven't... Yes, this way. So I haven't really gone this way yet. Why? Pressure plate click. Don't trust. What's going on down here? That's a spooky, scary cave. Why? Where? Oh, fucking... Good timing. That's nice. Great timing. Fantastic. Very well done. I appreciate it. What are you? That's so like a parasite, right? That's so a Can I move it with water? Does it get angered by water? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. What is that? 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 What are you? Also, the music is so loud. I'm gonna keep talking so you guys don't have to listen to it as much. What the hell are you? I'm not gonna bother. You look like a weird Steve slug. We're just gonna keep going around. Why is it so loud? I have this... This is at 7%. I have not touched this. I've touched everything else. This is at 7%, and this is how loud it is. Like, chill your butt. I want to make a joke, but the music's too loud and it's gonna ruin the joke, because it's not gonna be as funny. Because there's huge, ridiculous and it's gone. Anyway, Pumpkin, you want to know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of Kraken. That's all I wanted to say. Yep. What? What? Scent of the minnows. What do you mean? Is it this? Undead we... What? 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 Is it? No, I just keep getting the effect. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes my life great. I love that so much. I'm moving on with life. Just keep moving. I don't even know if Pumpkin's still here to hear that joke. And I no longer have the scent of the Minnows. Okay. Cool. I don't know what to do about life anymore. Is that a cross? Well, this world definitely needs it. What would be funny if somebody made a mod that's literally just meant to block every horror mod ever? Why? There's something over there. That's a thing. The thing I'm not sure I can go around. That's a spider. It's friendly for now. Is it just like a scarecrow? Hi, well, okay, bye. What? That dead body? Welcome back again. What is that? Oh, well, there's building over there. Perfect distraction. We're going there. Wonderful distraction. Thank you. And it's dead quiet again. I'm very happy I decided to have no music. Hi, Herobrine. Goodbye. Something powerful is invading the world. What do you mean? What? What do you mean? I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. I am sleeping. I am sleeping. Oh, giant four-leaf clover is fantastic. I need the luck right now. Please, give me all the luck. Give me all the luck. I need it to keep my sanity. What is that over there? Oh, it's just a mob with a shield. Okay. That looks cool, but I saw something moving in that window. Why are you biting Pumpkin for? Does he have a pot head? Is he holding a fork and a pot on his head? That's a bucket on his head. Okay. Well, we're getting scary music again. What's with the stinger? Please explain. Explain? Or are we just doing background music again? I don't know. I don't know anymore. This mod pack is so unpredictable. Ooh! Piece of dark metal. Oh, and the music's gone. Dark Knight. Or Door Knight. This is so Plants vs. Zombies inspired. This is definitely Plants vs. Zombies inspired. Also, yes, I'm gonna do this. Is it worse? 1,000 times yes. Is it working? Absolutely. I love and hate that this is working, because this is ridiculous. Also, his animations are broken. My sword's almost broken because of him. Bucket. Boop, boop, boop. Give me the coal, I need it. Seeds, seed, seeds. Seeds, seeds. Anything cool here? Sneak just in case. Oh, that's not fun. Restless spirit? Yeah, no, get out of here. Ding, da, ding, 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 ding. Pretty please, nothing bullshit. What? Husk groans, fantastic. Monster flesh. Oh, but iron, I'll take that. I'm gonna pull down some blocks. So that's absolutely the smart thing to do here. Nope. Decaying zombie. Oh! That's actually pretty cool. I hear another. I don't see another. Seed. Seed potato. Smoked flesh. Yep. Well, I got their attention, so that works. What? I could so hit you right there. Yeah. 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 Where did you go, bro? Can I see? No, I can't. Nope. Goodbye. Goodbye. No, no, no. No, no, no. On the bright side, these guys don't spawn maggots. More coal. I'll take it. I got enough for a chest plate now, though. Oh, no, no, no. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Is this fine? What's up here? What is up here? What's going on? Nothing! Loot? Oh, more iron. I'll take it. I'll take it. Okay. I don't actually need the second bucket. I'll take more food, though. Is there anything in the barrels? Decoration. Okay. Make this. Okay, cool. I think that's a nice spot to leave it off. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna pick this back up in a little bit. If you're here... Words. This is so laggy. Oop. I really hope the VOD isn't super laggy, because otherwise this is gonna be hell to record, or to edit. We'll pick this back up Sunday at 100 days, and the next Wednesday we'll finish it off so I can get this out by Halloween. I will still be working on Passion Project in the background. I feel like, for this there's a building behind me. I see that. It's right over here. We'll pick back up footsteps. Footsteps. Where's Herobrine? Herobrine, have you come to join the intro? for the outro? Here, Brian. I saw you for a second, buddy. Okay. We got spooky sounds, but it's fine. Passion project for a little bit is probably going to be purely recorded, not doing any streaming for it. And we'll get more of it. I'll get more of the base done. The next thing is going to be working on a safe room for Tall, so you'll see some content for that on TikTok and YouTube Shorts while I get the video out. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank y'all for joining me. I'll see y'all at 100 days. Bye-bye.